Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. Today, I have my cousin brother Prashantana with me, who is as much of a cricket fanatic as I am. Today, we'll be covering the Border-Gavaskar Trophy squads and the recent forms of players, and obviously giving our take on the potential playing 11 for the upcoming Perth Test. So, join us for a great discussion ahead. So, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for welcoming me.
The first question I have is the headlines itself. Uh, Rohit Sharma is most probably going to miss the first test, may extend to the second test. What do you think about this? Should he continue captaining once he returns?
If you ask me, Rohit Sharma is very integral to the team. He is very important as a captain, and the moment he returns, the captaincy armband has to move to Rohit Sharma, regardless of what happened in the first or the second test. Uh, he's very vital to the team. The mindset that he brings into the side, the energy that he brings, I think he
Mm,
really has to start captaining from the moment he steps onto Australian soil.
mm,
I've been hearing some rumors, or it might be even true, that the BCCI is looking to cancel his paternity leave. We can't believe everything on social media, but there are some speculations that he might come to Australia and start from the first test itself. Good news for India, because right from the first test, if you have a single captain, the mindset will be the same, the rhythm will be good going into the rest of the series, because it's a big one this time. It's not a four test series, it's a five test series. So
mm.
the mindset needs to be proper, and there should not be any fluctuations in plans and also the rhythm.
I think yeah, I would agree on that, especially coming after the setback which we faced against New Zealand, a whitewash at home. I think he's a captain who can handle and motivate the players to play well. And going to Australia,
Yeah,
adapting to those conditions and playing well, I think he's the right guy to go to.
such a captain
Sec-
has to start from the beginning. Yes, he has to be
Correct.
there from the beginning because he's an experienced captain. We know how much he has done for the Indian cricket team, right from winning the T20 World Cup earlier this year, and
Mm.
not to forget his five IPL titles as well. So he's the man for that. He's the man to transform the side from that whitewash to what will be an inspiring comeback if he manages to get India to win this BGT. It will be a hat trick. So
Correct.
he'll,
And second question is, considering the low performance of Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli for quite a few months now, or quite a few years, I would say, is this their last BGT at least, or is this their last Test series for that matter?
I wouldn't say no. We have to see the result of the series, how they go about in the series. Just one whitewash cannot determine Rohit Sharma's and Virat Kohli's exit from the side. So we need to see what happens in the BJT, because both of them are experienced campaigners and we need them in order to take on such a huge team. And also, even going forward, we have the World Test Championship final coming up. Lots are at stake. So
Mm.
we can't completely rule out them so early. And this is not
Correct.
the time we even talk about their ouster from the side, because it's a very crucial series coming up. It's a high
Mm.
stakes series.
Mm.
So I wouldn't say this is their final series, but if things go wrong, get out of hand, like if we lose it by a big margin, might
Mm.
be the end of them in the test format at least. The ODIs, they may be continuing at least in the Champions Trophy, but
Mm.
we can't rule out anything now, because India needs them and they are an inspiration to this batting line.
And what about the middle order, especially when I come to Shubman Gill? I think he has had some performances. He has made a couple of hundreds here and there, but he hasn't been as consistent as he was before, especially before he got his flu and fever. So, how would you include him in the side? Do you include him in the side, at least in the 11 for the first test?
I would like to play it safe. I would start with Shubman Gill, if you ask me, because considering the acumen that he displayed during the PGT of 2020-2021, it was his
Mm.
first big test of his career. The way he displayed himself, the way he showed his character in the Gabba test, especially in the second innings, we were chasing a very big total. The
Mm.
91 in Gabba, I think, really underlines the commitment that he has shown to the team. So in my view, he starts from the first test. He starts from the first test. I
Mm.
don't have any queries on him or any problems with him starting in the 11. I think he has to be playing in that number three position.
So, continuing on the same lines, what will be your middle order, considering there are a lot of batsmen who are competing for the spots? I would say KL Rahul, Dhruv Jurel, Sarfraz Khan, Abhimanyu Easwaran, Rishabh Pant, and there are only few spots for them. Who would you pick and why?
As far as the middle order is concerned, yeah, I think number 4 should be Virat Kohli. He owns that spot now.
Hmm.
And coming to number 5, it's a toss-up between Sarfaraz and Jurel, to be very honest. Yeah. I want to talk a lot about Jurel. Jurel has showed a lot of character over the past few months when he has
Yes.
played for the BG. And recently in the unofficial test series, he
Yeah.
displayed a great sense of character playing at the very tough MCG conditions,
Correct.
especially hitting an 80 in the first innings and a 65 in the second innings
Hmm.
against a second-tier bowling lineup of Australian called uh, from the top cream of Hazelwood, Cummins, and Starr. I think he has played a second cream of bowling. I think he is
Hmm.
very well warmed up to this challenge now. So I think I would be tempted to start with Jural ahead of Sarfaraz, even though Sarfaraz has shown what he can do in clutch situations in Bengaluru. But
Hmm.
the returns in the next two tests were not as convincing as fans or even experts would have wanted. So
Correct.
I would be tempted to start with Jural. So Jural will be my number 5 or number 6.
Hmm.
Uh, and Pant will be in the middle order. He fixes himself, especially after his heroes at the Gabba or even at Sydney during the 18-19 series.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, I think he holds himself well in that position. So
Yeah,
Pant,
definitely.
Jural will be playing at number 5 or 6.
I think the way the middle order performed in the unofficial test, which you talked about, especially KL Rahul and Abhimanyu Easwaran, on both of whom we had a lot of expectations ahead of the BGT. How do you look at the situation? Do you see that as a lack of preparation for the Australian pitches?
Yeah, it should be because every time we step into Australian soil, we see players struggling to adapt to the conditions. And that too, many newbies like Abhimanyu Easwaran. To be very honest, he has a great start in domestic cricket in India. He's been performing very well for the last few years. And I've been even saying on many social media sites that he has to be there in the Indian opening setup in place of Rohit Sharma many times. But yeah, the breakthrough didn't come. But now this series has to be the breakthrough, but still the unofficial test he hasn't given a good account of himself. So it would be difficult for him to break into the 11 in this series. But
Hmm.
there is a long way to go if he continues to be considered. But I don't think in this series he would be able to find a place. If at all Rohit Sharma misses the first test,
Hmm.
and maybe if there is an opening, he might step in. But even at that time, BCCI or even the captain, Jasprit Bumrah, if he's going to take over captaincy, they will be tempted to go with Rahul for his experience mainly in Australian pitches. So Abhimanyu Ishwaran, it's going to be very difficult for him to break through, but I hope he breaks through and shows what Mayank Agarwal showed a few years ago in MCG.
Correct. Yeah. And coming to the most important question, the spinners. Whom would you pick? Will we go with two spinners, three spinners, or just one spinner? All of them have great stats, be it Ashwin, Jadeja, or Washington Sundar. So how would you go about this?
Looking at the past, we have seen Jadeja being preferred due to his more batting inclined approach. More than his bowling, we have relied on his batting in the lower middle order to bail us out of situations. If there are some flurry of wickets falling in the top order, I think he can hold well with the middle order batter, whoever is batting above him, or even the tailenders who are below him. We can see, for example, the MCG test of the previous BGT that happened in Australia. He held fort along with Rahane and also guided the lower order, the tailenders. So I would say Jadeja picks himself. We can't
Correct.
rule out Ashwin either because Ashwin has some great statistics in Australia. More than batting, his bowling has been really useful for India, as we'll see. 3 matches in the last BGT. He did play the Gabba test. In those 3 matches, he was able to pick 12 wickets, ranking fourth among the leading wicket takers of the series.
Hmm.
So, from a bowling perspective, Ashwin should be useful for India, but I'm afraid that he won't be finding a place in the 11 because India would be preferring to go with four bases, considering Perth is a very fast bowling deck and a lot of bounce can be extracted on those pitches. So, they won't be going with Ashwin. But from my point of view, I would want India to consider because of his wicket-taking prowess. But he might be considered for the other tests coming into the series, like the Adelaide Test, the Sydney Test, where spin might do the talking.
Hmm.
But Perth Test, I don't think Ashwin should be finding a place in the 11. And for the matter of his batting, which may come in handy, like the Sydney Test,
Hmm. Hmm.
which he batted well along with Vihari to save the Test run.
Bihari. Correct.
But if we are talking about the Perth test, the first one, he's not finding a place because we need four fast bowlers, and we can only go with Jadeja, who can give us lot more batting cushion playing at number seven.
Given that we are going to pick four fast bowlers, I'm understanding that they should be Prasidh Krishna, Harshit Rana, Jasprit Bumrah, and Mohammad Siraj. Uh, I understand Prasidh Krishna, but Harshit Rana, who has not come with any experience, how would you pick him? And why wouldn't you pick any spinner like Washington Sundar for that matter, who can even chip in with the bat and play three pacers instead?
Yeah, I've already said that Perth gives you a lot of pace. It's going to be pace, pace, pace. That's it. So Perth doesn't know what is a spinner. So spinners will not have much say on that wicket in Perth. So what I would say is Harshit Rana should be coming in, especially for his pace. He's not just a pacer. He has a lot of control. We have seen him in domestic cricket that he has a lot of control. See, yeah, I think he should be there, and not to forget he's a handy batter as well. He has a first class 100. He can be a handy batter, maybe even at number 8. The position can be taken at number 8 for Harshit Rana. He'll be definitely useful for the wickets in Perth.
Australia recently announced their squad for the first test, a 13-man squad. And considering only 11 can play, who are the two who are going to miss out, in your opinion?
Yeah, Josh Inglis do not find a place, in my opinion. But if Australia does not want their fourth bowling option, in this case Mitchell Marsh, then he might come into the side if they would want to drop Mitchell Marsh. So what Australia would commonly go with is always gone with a fast bowling all rounder, regardless of what conditions they play. They've had Cameron Green in most parts of their test squad, and Mitchell Marsh also comes in whenever Green misses out. So, considering that they don't have Green, so Mitchell Marsh has to be in the squad. So, Josh Inglis misses out from this combination. Yeah, the other one to miss out sadly would be Scott Boland because he had a great run during the Ashes and also during the other series where he was picked ahead of senior bowlers like Stark. Um, Scott Boland will have to miss out this time in favor of Mitchell Marsh, who will be playing at home at Perth. So he's the guy who's going to be missing. So it's going to be a Perth guy in Josh Inglis and Victorian guy in Scott Boland missing out for this test match. So the point of talk about Nathan McSweeney, he makes his way into the 11. He'll be making his debut after his stellar showing in the unofficial test series where he batted in 3 innings at an average of 55, 166 runs. Yeah, I think he definitely deserves the nod to get into the 11, break into, and partner Usman Khawaja at the top.
But what we have seen is he has played majority of his first class career as a number 3 batter or even lower for that matter. He has barely opened the innings. Yeah, he has opened the innings in the unofficial test. But will you send him up with Usman Khawaja right away, considering that it's a BGT? Will he be able to take the pressure and go on to open the innings?
I want to remind you of Bill Bukowski. Do you remember it?
Yes.
Yeah, even him for his state side played at number 3 and number 4 positions majorly, and he was asked to open in the BGT when he played the BGT in 2020-21. Yeah, I don't think Australians would mind their positional value much because whatever they are given, they would be performing it on the word go, and that is what Australians are. Australians are Australians, and they can adapt to whatever is given to them. Even Steve Smith has batted at numerous positions in his career. So he has started from being a bowler at number 9, number 10 positions to playing at number 3, number 4, and smacking hundreds so far. So Nathan McSweeney opening will not be a great issue, but I think it will be a good start for him as well. And Australia will have runs at the top order, especially with Khawaja partnering him and teaching him on how to go forward in the BGT, and he will learn. Nathan McSweeney will definitely learn from Khawaja, and he will move forward in his career. And I think they have chosen a great opener. I would have wanted Marcus Harris at the top, considering he has some international experience. But still, if Australia are going with Nathan McSweeney, he has also justified in the last unofficial series. So he definitely has cemented his place.
And here's my last question. When I was scrolling through the social media, I saw that Nathan Lyon had predicted that India will lose 5-0 in the BGT. Do you have any comments on this?
As usual, Australia's mind games have started. We know about their media, we know about the players.
Mm,
Um, yeah, Australians are probably ambitious people. We know Pat Cummins had made that comment of silencing the crowd, and he really achieved it during the
correct.
World Cup final.
Mm,
So there's nothing wrong in Australian players commenting these kind of stuff, but India has to do the talking on the field rather
yes.
than reacting to things on social media.
Mm,
So if you ask me, I would think that this should be another closely contested BGT.
mm,
Maybe in the region of 3-1 Australia winning it, or maybe in the region of 2-2 with
mm,
maximum of one draw. So I think India will contest very toughly in this series.
mm.
I may be wrong. I may be wrong. I'm not
Yeah.
assuring that
I think
either.
we should remind ourselves what Justin Langos once said. Never, ever,
Yeah,
ever
don't
underestimate the
underestimate.
Indians. Yeah. With this, you can conclude our podcast.
Yeah.
It's been great interacting with you. Great answers. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining in.
In Australia, we win test matches and we win series almost for fun. When you're on the other side of the fence, so what's the lessons do you think that's actually going to be coming out of this series?
First, you can never take anything for granted. Second, never ever ever underestimate the Indians.
Put your hands up.
ਧੋਖਾ ਸੱਜਣਾ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਮਾਈ ਦਾ ਵੈਰੀ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਮਿਲੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਲੰਮਾ ਪਾਈਦਾ ਹੱਕ ਕਿਸੇ ਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਾਧਨ ਕਮਾਈ ਦਾ ਰਕਾਨੇ ਇਹੀ ਰੀਜ਼ਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਜੱਟ ਦੀ ਚੜਾਈ ਦਾ ਧੋਖਾ ਸੱਜਣਾ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਮਾਈ ਦਾ ਵੈਰੀ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਮਿਲੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਲੰਮਾ ਪਾਈਦਾ ਹੱਕ ਕਿਸੇ ਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਾਧਨ ਕਮਾਈ